Ever had a woman do something so sweet, so kind that you felt fortunate to have her? What if I told you that a number of those loving actions can actually be planned moves to control you, get her way, or shift the power in your relationship without you even seeing it? Pay close attention, because once you recognize these tactics for what they truly are, you'll never be tricked by them again. Stephanie here. Hello and welcome. Remember to look at the channel name to be sure that it says Stephanie, to be certain that this video is made by me. Now, in this video, I'm revealing 5 apparently loving things women do that aren't as harmless as they seem. We'll explain what's really going on, why it affects men, and how you can see it before it puts you under her control. And I'll give you ways to stop these if you ever are in that spot. So keep watching. All right, let's get started right now. Number 1, the over-the-top praise. Now, you've probably heard the line, "Wow, you're actually the best man I've ever met." Or perhaps it's, "No one could ever be as good as you." And hey, right then, it feels incredible to hear that. Your ego is beaming, your chest is out, you're thinking, at last, someone who really appreciates me, right? But here's the truth. When praise feels too much, constant, and a little too exactly timed, it's not just a compliment, it's a trap. She's creating a mental debt in your mind. It's the same idea that sales folks use when they flatter you before asking you to buy something pricey. Men get caught by this because they're made to respond well to approval, particularly from a woman they're drawn to. But the trouble comes when that approval becomes a setup for obedience later. Let me clarify. A setup for obedience is when someone on purpose uses or creates a circumstance that makes you more inclined to say yes to what they want, often without you knowing it. It's a mind-based tactic that works by creating certain feelings and hopes, or duties, first, so that when the ask finally comes, you feel like saying yes is the expected or only choice you can give. Here's how it generally happens. They prepare the base. This could be, for instance, endless praise, doing you kind deeds, showing weakness, or giving you lots of attention. The aim is to put you in a good, weaker, or thankful state of mind. They shape the ask in a way that matches the idea of you that they've been strengthening. So, as an example, let's say she's been telling you all week how giving and considerate you are. Then, when she requests something major, she says, "I know you'll say yes because you're such a kind-hearted guy." Now, saying no doesn't just mean turning down their request. It feels like you're going against the persona that she's been praising. The feeling-based trap has been set. By the time the ask arrives, it's more difficult for you to say no because, well, you feel thankful and want to return the favor. You feel bad if you say no, and you don't want to let down the good image that you know they've created for you. It's essentially controlling the environment just before the question, so the reply is more probable to be in their benefit. It's not that compliments are wrong, not at all, but when they're constant, overblown, or always leading to a "by the way," that's when you should pause and ask yourself, is she making me feel good or softening me up? Before we move to the next tactic, I want to hear from you. Have you ever felt this strange pressure after too many compliments? Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you're getting value from this, make sure you subscribe and like this video right now to see the full picture. The most important insights are coming up, so watch all the way to the end. You can handle over-the-top praise by doing 3 easy things. Slow it down, separate the compliment from compliance, and test the intent. I'll explain each one. So, slow it down, right? Don't answer emotionally right away, and you must learn this. Now, when someone, or in this case, a woman, is heaping on compliments, your first instinct is to enjoy it and feel close. But if it's too much, or ideally timed before a possible ask, what you want to do is to wait and make a note in your head. Instead of responding with an instant "thank you, that means a lot," followed by maybe more generosity, simply smile, recognize it quickly, and move the talk on. Now, when you do this, it stops them from locking you in a strong emotional state that's easier to control. Next thing, separate the compliment from the compliance. If the compliment is followed by, for instance, a request, you want to create a clean mental and verbal space between the two. So as an example, let's say she says something like, "You're truly the most generous man I've ever met. Hey, can we do blah blah blah?" Your answer should be like this: "Hey, I appreciate you saying that. Now, about what you're asking, let's look at it by itself." Now, this quietly communicates that you're not going to let praise override your choices. 3. Test the intent. Real praise is on its own. Controlling praise often needs a reward. Try waiting with your answer, or politely saying no to the request to see if the praise stays at the same strength. If it goes away, or worse, turns into quiet guilt trips, you've found a hidden motive. Let's move on. Secondly, I want to talk about the strategic vulnerability. So, opening up about your fears, worries, or a painful past can be a wonderful thing in a relationship when it's real. But when a woman schedules it exactly to guide the result of a conversation or to make you feel responsible for standing your ground, that's when it turns into a manipulation tactic, right? It works because it uses your natural desire to protect and comfort her. Now, the instant she shares something deeply private, your guard drops. You feel like the wrong guy if you keep making your original point. So, for instance, you tell her you're not ready to move in together with her, okay? Now, instead of having a straightforward discussion, she changes into this tearful story about how every man she's loved has left her, and how simply the thought of living apart makes her feel scared. Now, once she says this, you're no longer talking about a practical decision. You're protecting yourself against an unspoken charge that, well, you're just like the other guys who hurt her. Now, here's the hard part. You start doubting your own needs. You think, if I insist on this, she's going to see me as cruel. In that moment, the conversation is no longer about your boundary. It's about her pain and the guilt that she just placed in your mind firmly. Real vulnerability is about connection, not control. But when she uses it as a tool, you'll notice it's always helpfully timed right before you're about to hold her responsible, reject something, or stand firm in your boundaries. You can counter strategic vulnerability by protecting two things: your understanding and your boundaries, so you don't let guilt take over good sense. For example, what you want to do is acknowledge the feeling, but don't leave the point, okay? So when someone makes an emotional confession right before or during an argument or fight, they're often hoping that you shift attention from the issue to comforting them. So instead, what you want to do is to separate the two. For example, you say, "Hey, I hear you. I get that it's tough for you, but let's talk about that after we finish talking about the first issue." That's how you want to respond. This will show kindness without letting the topic get sidetracked.
Next thing you want to do is to notice the timing. Okay, real vulnerability can happen anytime, anywhere, right? Controlling vulnerability, on the other hand, has perfect timing, and it's usually when you're about to say no and set a boundary or ask for an answer. So remember this. 3. Say no to the emotional guilt trap. Now, if her vulnerability makes you feel like saying no to her request means hurting her, you want to stop before responding. Ask yourself, will I still say yes if she hadn't told me that information right now? If the answer is no, you've found manipulation. Let's move on. The self-sacrifice move. Now, from the outside, this one looks like pure love. She does something major for you, something you didn't ask for, something that seems considerate and giving, and you're thinking, wow, she really is there for me. But there's a trick, and there are conditions connected. Maybe not in the very moment, but believe me, the price always comes later. I mean, think about it. It's not really a gift if it's being saved as leverage. For example, let's say she wakes up early in the morning, travels across town to bring you your favorite breakfast, and says, "Oh, just wanted to make your day," right? Sweet. Jump ahead 2 days later, you tell her you can't make it to a friend's birthday dinner, for example, because maybe you're tired from work. And all at once, she hits you with, "After everything I do for you, you can't even come with me for one night?" That loving action wasn't about kindness. It was a payment in the "you owe me" account. And the reason this works so well is because people hate feeling not thankful. You start thinking maybe you're mistaken and you give in, not because you want to, but because she presented it as payback for her sacrifice. You see, true love gives without counting, as simple as that. If her nice actions always return to guilt-tripping you into compliance, you're not in a love story, you're in a quiet deal. Now, you can counter the self-sacrifice move by seeing it for what it is, a gift with secret strings, and refusing to get caught in a guilt net when it comes time for payback. The self-sacrifice move only works if you accept the hidden agreement that kindness is equal to duty. Once you politely but steadily break that connection, the tactic will lose its strength. So first, don't overthink unsolicited favors, right? When she does something big you didn't ask for, say thank you, but keep it short and neutral. Too much gratitude will strengthen that emotional leverage that she might use later. For example, you can say, "I appreciate you doing this, it was kind," and then move on. 2. Separate kindness from duty. If she later brings up the favor as a reason you must do something, calmly make the difference. For example, say, "Hey, I'm thankful for what you did, but I need to decide this based on what's best for me and not because you did something for me in the past." It makes it obvious you won't be pushed by feelings. 3. Watch for the counting pattern. Now, true giving doesn't keep a list. If her nice actions are always followed by guilt trips, remember the trend. It's easier to say no without feeling like you're the one who is wrong. Have you ever felt you owed someone because of a nice thing they did? How did you handle it? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. Your experience could help others.
4. The sudden intimate affection. Now, intimate affection is one of the most powerful emotional tools in a relationship. A hug, a kiss, or closeness can instantly remove tension, make you feel safe, and cause a flood of bonding chemicals in your brain. Here's where it gets risky, however. When that affection comes out of nowhere and only after you've set a boundary or shown you're unhappy, quickly, instead of dealing with the issue, she pulls your attention with closeness. For example, let's say you tell her you're uneasy with a certain male friend that she keeps texting late at night. Rather than having an honest conversation about it, guess what she does? She spends the next 48 hours being extra loving, kissing you more, starting intimate moments more often, etc. And then you start feeling like things are amazing again, and maybe you're making a big deal. Now, this works because it takes over your decision-making. You see, affection isn't just being sweet, it's changing your emotional state so you forget why you were upset in the first place. It replaces argument with pleasure, and before you know it, the problem is hidden under a layer of warm, fuzzy feelings until it appears again, not fixed. Real intimacy should be about connection and not control. Understand this. If it only shows up right after a fight, be careful, because you might not be making peace, you might just be getting calmed down. Now, you can counter the sudden intimate affection by separating the emotional good feeling it creates from the decision or boundary that caused it. I'll give you 3 ways to do this. 1. You want to see the pattern and pause before you respond. When she comes in with the hugs and kisses or intimacy right after a fight, take a moment. You can like the closeness without letting it remove the conversation that you were having. For example, you want to smile, hug her back for a short time, and say, "Hey, I'm glad we're good, but I still want to finish what we're talking about." 2. You want to mention it lightly. Now, sometimes just noticing the timing stops the tactic. For example, you can laugh a little and say, "You're trying to win me over from the point, aren't you?" Said with humor, it will show that you see what's happening without it turning into a big argument. 3. You want to set the order. How do you do this? Change the story. Make affection something that follows an answer and doesn't replace it. For example, you can say, "Once we solve this out, I'd love to just relax and be close again." These tactics work because affection triggers oxytocin, which makes you more able to trust and less guarded. By pausing, separating, and returning to the issue, you break the chemical quick path and keep control of the conversation. And finally, the "I did it for us" reason. Now, this one really sounds good, like she's thinking about the relationship, about what's best for both of us, right? But the problem is, it often misses one very important step, which is your agreement. Now, when a woman uses this tactic, she makes a decision for you, then wraps it in a warm cover of, "Oh, I did it for us," so you don't feel guilty for doubting it. It shifts the spotlight from her ignoring your input to you seemingly not appreciating her effort. For example, she puts your names down for a couples retreat without asking you, and when you say you can't take the time off, she hits you with, "Well, I just want us to become better together. Why can't you see that?" Right? Now the conversation isn't about her making a solo decision, it's about you looking like the guy who doesn't care about the relationship. And it works because it paints resistance as selfishness. You're not just saying no to the plan, you're saying no to us, right? That's what she's trying to say. And in most men's minds, that's a fast road to feeling like a bad person with her. Look, the truth is, real teamwork means working together. If she keeps making moves for us, right, without asking you first, it's not love, it's control made to look like romance. So, how do you counter something like this? You counter it by understanding the intention, but stating again your right to have a say. The key is to avoid getting pulled into the guilt story she's setting up. For example, you can respond like this: "I appreciate that you want what's best for us, but decisions for both of us need to be made by both of us. Next time, let's talk about it first." Something like this will work because you accept her intention, so she can't say you're being ungrateful. You set again the boundary, making it clear that us decisions require our yes, right? You keep the conversation about the way and not her feelings, which avoids that emotional trap. What's the most confusing, nice thing someone has done that you later realized was about control? Share your view in the comments below. Let's talk about it. If this opened your eyes, you need to watch our other videos. Make sure you subscribe to Stephanie on the Manipulated Mind, hit the like button to support this real talk, and share this with a friend who needs to see it. Thank you for watching to the end.